Let's take a look at this statistic and try and figure out what it's about. I'll give you a hint. It's about the city of Lawrence. But it's not saying that out of 179 cities, we have the second lowest crime rate. It's not saying that out of 179 cities, we have the second lowest CO2 emissions or the second lowest level of unemployment. But rather, it is saying that the city of Lawrence is the second worst city performing economically. And that is according to the Milken Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that publishes economic research for social change. And this statistic should be terrifying if you live in the Lawrence area. So, why do we care? And we care because we are all students of the university and we're all residents of the Lawrence area. And we all have a burning passion to give the city exactly what it deserves and help it in any way possible. So that is why we are CORE, and we are a nonprofit organization focused on attracting organizations and businesses to the Lawrence area. And we do so by incentivizing those businesses through financing and free advertising so that they could come to the Lawrence area. And our end goal is to change the entire city of Lawrence from just an ordinary college town to an economic booming epicenter. And so that is why we're here asking for $50,000. And with that, we will fund the organizations that want to come to Lawrence and offer them free advertising for our organization around the Lawrence community and the university campus. And then finally, with the remainder, we will procure an office space and fund our day-to-day expenses. So in this presentation, Jeff will talk about the drastic need for nonprofit organizations in the Lawrence area and how they can help solve this problem. Travis will address the homeless epidemic and the terrible problems that those individuals are facing. And then Hannah will talk about student involvement and the opportunities that the university can help us with. And then Rune finally, and most importantly, will address the anemic Lawrence economy and the struggles in recent years.
So, our first major problem, and mainly a problem for most nonprofit organizations, is that there's not enough funding. If you look at some of the largest nonprofit organizations, they still do not get enough funding. So if we break it down to Lawrence and smaller nonprofits that are just trying to help the Lawrence community, you can see that many of them are struggling, especially, you said that in this economic period. Not having enough money and community resources affects the process of change. The process of change is a process where you need community resources in the beginning and to help nonprofits create community change. One of the biggest problems is that we do not have enough nonprofits in here, and we do not have enough resources or grants or help for these nonprofits to create change. And without change, Lawrence will not become better in any of the processes that it needs.
So the homeless population has increased at an alarming rate in Lawrence, Kansas. Just in the last 2 years, it is at 25%. And that means by the year 2021, we will have doubled our entire homeless population in a span of 8 years. Right now, there's 296 verified homeless people, men, women, and children in Lawrence, Kansas. And it's a rough number, of course, because you can't count everybody. 70% of those are in a shelter right now. Roughly 24% are in transitional housing, and a little over 6% are out on the streets. Now that doesn't seem high. However, if the entire Lawrence homeless population was concentrated in Mass Street, for every block that you walked, you would see an average of 4 homeless people.
Another problem we would like to address is the lack of student involvement within the community. We are currently underutilizing our student population when it comes to community service. And some of those reasons include a lack of direction and a lack of incentives. According to the Student Involvement and Leadership Center, otherwise known as SILC, There are 47 active chapters of fraternities and sororities at KU. Each member is typically required to accrue around 10 hours of service each semester. And just last year, members gave a total of 82,000 hours of community service. This is incredible, definitely very beneficial, but students still opt to take the $25 fine per hour for not doing service, which can lead up to $250 by the end of the semester. I have two friends who are the community service chairs of separate sororities, and they say each year the biggest problem they face is getting kids to just do the hours. And they're astounded by how many students opt to pay $250 and $500 total over the year just to get out of doing community service. There's also the other 80% of students not involved in Greek life, and we are underutilizing them as well. Some of them choose to participate in the big event, which is a great way to build community. However, it's only one day a year, and job sites aren't even need-based. Anyone can sign up to be a job site, including private homes, parks, communities. So this really doesn't promote long-term relationships between students and organizations that are really in need. And the reality is, if a student is going to give up a free hour in their schedule, they're going to do it in a way that benefits them, as in an internship or something that provides them work experience. So, according to the KU Office of Study Abroad, most scholarships will apply to study abroad internships during the academic year, but not during the summer. Many students choose not to pursue internships abroad because of this cost. However, we would be able to provide them the same valuable experience at a much cheaper rate by bringing more organizations to Lawrence.
So as you guys have hopefully realized from what we've talked about, that what's facing Lawrence is economic problems. And as Joe said in the Elkins report, we ranked second under small metro areas of the size. And in this report, there's different economic measures that have really affected us. And over the past year, 2011, Lawrence our ranking fell 79 spots from 99 to 179 that same year. And only 3 other cities, Ithaca, New York, Great Falls, Montana, and Hot Springs, Arkansas, had sharper declines than Lawrence. And these economic woes can be fixed through CORE and what we have to offer, because we will, as we'll discuss in the solutions in a second, as you'll discuss, we have many opportunities that we'll bring to Lawrence and help to bring a backbone to Lawrence and the community.
All right, so now that we've talked about the problems facing Lawrence community, we'll begin to talk about the solutions and how CORE will solve them.
So my problem was that we do not have enough money. So how do we gain money into bringing nonprofits? We need to bring in grants and funds into Lawrence. And how are we going to bring in grants and donations? Well, one of our core ideas is to have a volunteer team that solely works on bringing in grants and donations to nonprofits organizations that we aid. Every business, including nonprofit business, like the idea of having security, like knowing that somebody has their back when they need it. This is what we will do with our group. We'll bring them in. They'll be volunteers. We can bring them from KU. It could be professors. It could be students. It could be out-of-state people. And we'll have them solely go on for each organization to bring in grants and donations. And we will also help these organizations promote themselves along with promoting them by using statistical methods to increase donations. Some of these methods are called the perceptual method according to Grant Ward. And the perceptual method is that you go through the town statistically and you address the main problems and the main solutions to that. Like said before, many people react more to problems than solutions. If you tell somebody a problem, they will address it more than telling them the solution for something. So that's what we will try and do. So we will work alongside with these nonprofits to bring in grants and donations.
So one of the biggest problems for the homeless is being employed. CORE plans to partner with the Lawrence Workforce Center, the Kansas Department for Children and Families, and the University of Kansas, specifically the KU Disability and Health Program, to create an employment web that is specific to the homeless. We have one of these in Lawrence right now that is specific to disabled people and mentally challenged people. I don't see why we can't do it for homeless people as well. According to Christine Shames, who's the founder and director of the EZID program, which is a program that allows homeless people to obtain their identification papers more easily. She says the number one reason homeless can't get a job is because they are dirty. Even fast food restaurants require you to be clean. One of the biggest problems for these homeless people that like to hang out on Mass Street is they can't get clean. We don't have a shelter near our downtown area. We used to, however, we moved it way out on Deep 23rd Street, very far away from the center of the homeless population. Now, if we use some of the money that we're requesting to build another homeless shelter near Mass Street and hire more faculty, create better cleaning places, showers for these homeless people. It will be better for them in the future as far as employment, as far as getting back up, off their feet. It isn't about driving away the homeless population. Most of our homeless population is native to Lawrence. It's about helping them get back on their feet.
My issue was student involvement. When talking about the Greek community specifically, students who are involved in Greek life tend to become very successful after graduation. And members each year, according to the fraternity advisor, regularly donate over 10 million service hours and raise over $7 billion annually. CORE will further improve these numbers on KU's campus by offering a wider variety of organizations that students can partner with rather than just paying a fine. CORE will also advertise to the entire student population as a whole. All students will be encouraged to come in to our headquarters and conduct an initial interview that will determine which nonprofit or business or organization best suits their needs, their major, or their area of interest. It's basically the Hogwarts sorting house for NPOs. So we will model our plan off of the Center for Community Outreach, which places its volunteers in one of 12 categories. This will ensure that each student can find an organization with which they can identify, and that organizations are paired with plenty of able-bodied students. The promise of free or reduced labor from student volunteers and student interns will be one of the biggest factors in drawing NPOs and organizations to the Lawrence area. Students will be able to network with local businesses and gain very valuable work experience that will aid in building their resume and providing them experience for after they graduate. Local internships are also more convenient and can help students save thousands of dollars on study abroad costs. CORE will benefit students by allowing them to improve their job placement rate after graduation, and it will attract NPOs by providing hardworking, passionate, and dedicated employees.
So what we hope to ultimately do is bring in these organizations to help relieve the stress of the economics of Lawrence right now, because right now there's so much that certain programs and organizations are already doing, but if we bring these nonprofits in, relieve that stress, we'll make Lawrence a better place overall. And Scott Zablewski, professor at Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, wrote an article called The Economic Impact of Nonprofit Organizations. He makes an argument for how nonprofits pick up the slack of programs to help relieve the economic stress. He states, nonprofits provide local economies the public goods that generate positive externalities for local communities. A housing assistance program helps families in transition find affordable housing. A conservation society provides green space in the form of a public park. And also a nonprofit hospital can provide emergency care for people without health insurance. And he also goes on to make the point that it's important to keep jobs local and local. He states that nonprofits generate secondary local effects for local businesses, households, and other nonprofits. These expenditures generate employment not only in the nonprofit organizations themselves, but also in retailers, restaurants, lofts, and other businesses that either sell goods or services directly to the nonprofits, or people who work for them or come to visit them in person. So what we want to do is bring these organizations in to help just provide other services that may run thin through programs that are already in Lawrence, and to help the economic overall improve and make Lawrence a great place. Pass it back to Joe to conclude here.
So, in conclusion, like they all said, we will bring other businesses and organizations to the Lawrence area by offering them incentives like free advertising and funding. And our main goal, on top of fixing Lawrence, is also to increase student activity and give them opportunities through partnering with the university. So, with your funding, we will be able to accomplish all these goals and lay a solid foundation for our organization. And just like that statistic says, Lawrence is 178 out of 179 small cities in their economic performance. And even though that I said that this statistic should be very scary, to us, we see it as a challenge and something that with your help we can fix. Thank you.
Any questions for our group?
What about existing nonprofits in Lawrence, like Just Food or Bert Nash Center? How would you assist that, or if at all?
Yeah, so we would ultimately add them to our network. We're not just going to exclude all the pre-existing nonprofits, but we could add them to our network so that students could get involved with them and partner with them to make them bigger. And also part of our free advertising that we would do with our funding, we could do that to all existing nonprofits in the Lawrence area.
Any other questions?
You named a bunch of specific problems throughout, such as like not enough facilities for showers for homeless people, unaffordable housing, along with others. Why is this solution better than just allocating all 25,000 and trying to solve one, and then let's say coming back in 6 months and saying, look, we've done great with this, how can we get more and we'll target more things to help Lawrence become better?
Because we think our main goal is to help Lawrence as a whole with jobs and economic incentives, and we think that helping the economy will not just solve, building homeless shelters, stuff like that. It can do a whole plethora of things as long as jobs are created. So that, like you said, focus on one thing. That's kind of why we wanted to stress the need of the homeless community, because we think that is the biggest epidemic. But we do think that by bringing in businesses and creating jobs, that will be solved.
And also, it's like easy to put a band-aid on something, but if you don't fix it at its core, I mean, it's gonna keep having problems. And yeah, so we're looking to address it and, in the long run, make it better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Of the two groups that win today, any members immediately have to leave to get to another class? All right, then I'm going to, the rest of you are excused. I'm going to meet with green group first, and then I'll meet with red group for only a couple of minutes. Don't worry about it. Just want to give you my feedback while it's immediately on the top of my head.